tell this story. 3 years ago, I had a guy come in that I coached, and he had just been recently divorced, and he had been struggling to release 50 pounds. He had tried everything, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, you name it, just about every program. He would have some success. He would lose about 20, 30 pounds. He was heading in the right direction, but for some reason, it would all come back again once he stopped. The reason being is, those programs, while they mean well, they don't solve the root cause. They don't solve the problem. They manage the effect. He spent a lot of money doing that. So on some level, what his problem was, what he perceived his problem to be, was he wanted to release 50 pounds. That was his problem. That's what ultimately he wanted to get to. But when we finish this story, you're going to see what else came out about it that also affected his life. So he came to me and he said, "Can you help me? You're the last straw. I think, from what you're doing, I think you're about the only person I think that can help me." I said, "Well, we'll see." So we began our session, and we began talking, and I began to delve in deep into his personal life, back to his childhood. Now, this was an individual who had a mom and dad, very loving family, a brother and sister, no major trauma in his life, had a great upbringing for the most part. At least this is what he was telling me. And for some reason, I knew there was something there, because the fact that he was 50 pounds overweight, there was a problem. But where were we going to find it? So what I had him do was, during a 4-week process, I had him going through a series of deep breathing exercises where he would go into a quiet space in his house, not like he was sitting Indian style, but just sitting in a chair, focusing, being in the present moment, deep breathing, practicing the deep breathing, being in the present moment. Because most of us live our lives fluctuating between the past and the future. We're never in the present moment. And when you're in the past and you're in the future, what happens? There's anxiety, there's fear, there's stress. That's where it thrives. And that's where procrastination comes in. And that's where these unhealthy behaviors start to set in. When you are in the present moment, it cannot exist. Fear, stress, and anxiety cannot exist. Try it. I had him do that, and for the first time, he began to get clarity in his mind. So because of that clarity, I began to dig in deep with him. And we were talking, and out of nowhere, he just says, "Yeah, I remember when I was, 9 years old, 10 years old, my mom telling me to finish my plate because kids in Africa were starving." And then he went on to talk about something else, and I said, "There you go. There it is." He goes, "What's what? There's your root cause. I didn't finish my plate." I go, "No, it's your mom. My mom was a great mom. She didn't, do anything bad to me. I didn't say she did anything bad to you. I said, your mother is your root cause. Let's talk about your mom a little bit more." And now his eyes began to open. So now I began to uncover some other things. His mother made all the decisions in the family. The father was passive. Okay, the father basically went along with everything that she said and did. She made all the decisions for the kids. His kids couldn't even tie their shoes. She did it for them. So he never developed the skills to really do things for himself. So what he did subconsciously was, through his rest of his teenage years and through his adulthood, up to that point, subconsciously, he was eating not 1 plate, or 2 or 3 plates to satisfy mom. His mother was slightly dominant. Now, where I'm going to go with the story is, when he was married, guess what? Guess who he married? His mother. His mother, or his wife at the time, was slightly dominant. You see the pattern? It's very common. Can you relate to it? Yeah. So, all of a sudden, he began to oh boy. And he finally got it. But he didn't even realize what he even said, because at the time, he wasn't consciously even aware of this. He wasn't even aware that he had a problem, except that he was 50 pounds overweight. It was his subconscious mind, for the first time, was in alignment with his conscious mind because of being in the present moment and focusing on the deep breathing, that he started getting to a good rhythm and getting into practice. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. Now, from this guy's life completely changed once we began to go through the rest of this process that we're going to go through today. briefly. And not only did he release 50 pounds, he has kept that weight off to this day as a result of developing new habits and behaviors and disciplines that changed the course of his life in terms of his health.